Hello.
Heyo,
How's it going?
pretty well. How are you?
Doing well. So I'm. I just started. Got my leather wet here, and then going to be tracing out the pattern for the gorget, as Magnus likes to say. But I'm just going through and doing the artwork right now. And so once we get this done, then I'll start using some. I'll start doing the swivel knife, and we can talk about whatever issues you want to talk about with the swivel knife. And I've got several different blades here that I can demonstrate, and we can, whatever questions you guys have, you well, it's trust and cosmic, so you all are both probably way more advanced than I am. So
Oh, no, I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see techniques because obviously all that I've been doing is just trial and error, and I'd love to see how you work with it so that I can kind of maybe adjust what I'm doing if I see better ways to do it. You know what I mean?
yeah, so
Also, I need to get some of those weights.
yeah, these are really helpful. Um,
Yeah.
I saw this. I think Magnus did this in one of his videos. He had some different ones, but I found these on Amazon. I think they were like $50 or something. I don't remember exactly how much they cost, but I got two of them, and
Okay.
they're really super helpful.
Yeah, it seems like
This is the stylus that I'm using, the craft tool.
nice. Does that have a rubberized grip or is it solid plastic?
Yeah, it's rubber.
Nice. I'm gonna switch over to headset just so I can hear you and move around my studio. So
Sure.
I'll be testing, testing.
Sounds good.
Hey, nice, thanks.
It does irritate me that I have to do push to talk.
Oh,
Ugh.
wait, you can change that in the settings unless. Oh, is it like a choice? You chose to do that?
No, uh, for some reason it's telling me that I have to do push to talk. I don't know why.
Oh, let's see. So voice and video settings. So if you were to go to your settings right now, you can do it even when you're in the chat. Go to your settings and then go to the voice and video under app settings,
Yeah, I
and
know how to. I know
it'll
how to
give you an
set it up,
input mode.
but it's
Oh, okay.
for. I think what Magnus did, and it sometimes it's difficult when people are trying to manage the Discord servers. Is sometimes you fall into the trap of, oh, I want to, you know, firewall everything off for different tiers, right? And
Mhm.
so they just like, because I'm the Patreon champion or whatever the thing is, and not the, whatever other category, like, it's just like, I think he just needs to add me to the, or the category that I'm in on Discord, to the voice um, voice activated chat. I don't know.
Um, I mean, that could definitely be it, but I know that there's definitely settings that are just related to because it's your preference whether or not you do push to talk, I think. And I think you
Yeah.
can change it, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Uh,
I'll leave you to it. I'm not going to try to tell you what to
no, that's fine.
do.
One of the irritating things about doing things the way that I do them, using the paper instead of like an overlay or something, is that the paper gets a little bit of the water in it, and so over time it starts to get real flimsy. But I don't know why. I just like doing it this way.
Yeah. I think I saw a couple videos a while back. Um, yeah, I think it's like I've seen people prefer to put the paper over the top and then they'll put a piece of cling film right under the paper, but I can imagine that like ends up getting a lot of wrinkles and stuff over time. But that could be an
Uh,
option maybe.
yeah, I've done that before with the Saran wrap. That's a good
Yeah.
idea. I don't know why I didn't think of doing that.
I mean, there's so many ways to do the same thing to get to the same place, so, you know. This is so cool that you organized this. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. I for my profession, I like to. Well, I teach um, in a corporate level, so I like to do stuff like this anyway. But getting to kind of mesh my favorite hobby with my profession is like awesome.
Heck yeah.
I just wish I'd had this done before you all got on here.
We showed up and just piled in. Teach us. So when you get that set up, oh, of course, like for some reason my brain totally I had a brain fart moment. I was like, so are we gonna get a close up of you doing this part? And then I realized that's not actually part of the carving. I think I just need more coffee.
Oh, we can. I don't know how much closer I can get the video here. Let me try.
So James was saying in the chat that's um, that's affiliated with this VC, that they are push to talk can be activated server wide and sometimes is a default. Oh no, the next message was anyone know why I'm suppressed? Apparently, James is suppressed. He's not able to unmute himself. We may need like a mod to come and unmute. Maybe it was like an accidental thing. I'm not sure.
Hmm.
What did you do, James? what did you do to get suppressed?
I think it's just what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah,
The settings are kind of funky for who can talk and who can share and stuff. So
that's so weird. Like I don't know. I haven't experienced anything, so I don't know. So I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I did nothing. You have no proof. Yeah, I'm gonna message, I guess, while you're doing that, so you're not like, if you want, I don't know. It's up to you guys.
yeah, if you want to message Magnus and just be like, "Hey, man, fix the audio."
Help! Help us! Rust, are you experiencing the same thing? Are you suppressed as well? It's weird because I can send a picture in here. See.
No, I think I'm good. I'm just lurking.
Okie dokie. I was doing a data transfer test. All right, I'm gonna go and post in the general channel. Let's
Okay.
see. All right.
All right. I think that's probably close enough on the carving or on the stenciling there. Um, I don't know if it's not really showing up very well. There we go. So maybe um, what we'll do is I'll show. It's hard to hold down the talk button and try to pull things over here. So what I'll do here, I'll just put these up here. All right, and maybe I can. Is that? Can you hear me?
Confirming we can hear. Well, I can hear
Sweet.
at least.
All right, awesome. I just put a little bit of weight on on that key, and it'll hold it down. Yay!
Yay!
All right, so I got a couple of different swivel knives here, and this was the first one that I bought. Actually, this was one from Weaver, and it's a super nice. It's got a lot of weight to it, and it this is the blade that it comes with. Is this huge kind of I forget what they call this, but it's got the scalloped sides, um, and I guess it's meant to be kind of an all-purpose blade. Um, and it's a good blade to learn with if you want to just learn how to do like simple carving, like you can do stuff like that, right? And just make little curlicues. And one of the tests that or one of the practice um, exercises that they recommend online. One of the old Weaver video or sorry Tandy videos that I saw was just about doing stuff like that. Just carve out a little flower, um, just learn how to make straight lines, learn how to make curving lines, and then and that's what I did with this one. And it's pretty good,
Nice.
um, but it's not my favorite. And let's see, this blade is just a flat blade, and I think this is the blade that came with this barrel. So I never really used this one. Um, it's I used it a little bit in the beginning, but it just that was before I really understood what stropping was, and so you can see that it's still got kind of a I don't know if that's showing up at all, but it's still got the striations from where they originally sharpened it. It's
Mm.
not very polished. Um, so I don't really care for that style of blade anyway. This was my favorite blade, and it's I don't know how well that shows up, but it's very polished because I used that for the about the last year, um, and it does a really good job. So this, and it's an angled blade, right? And this is real similar to what Magnus uses uh, on his stuff, but this is going to let you get a little bit uh, crisper cuts whenever it gets into the smaller areas, right? So whenever we get into these tighter curves, it will cut you know in a tighter fashion because you think about that little thing pointing straight down. It's uh, it's going to be a lot easier to get a tight turn with that. Um, but then the one that I have actually loaded in here is the one that Magnus recommended, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, I for this one, um, I'm still learning to use this one, but so the differences between these two, right? This is the metal one and the ceramic one. They're basically the same. I think the ceramic one is just slightly larger. It might be a 16th of an inch larger as far as the width of the blade goes. Um, but it cuts so much deeper into the leather than the metal one does, and I assume that's because the the blade on the ceramic one is just significantly sharper. uh,
Right.
I don't know exactly why it does that, but that's been my experience.
Is
So
it thinner at all,
it
or
is,
like is the bevel on it like like longer, as in like it has like a thinner blade at the top? Do you know what I mean? Like I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
There's just not as much like
It is
surface
definitely
resistance. Yeah.
right. Yeah, it's definitely a steeper um, angle on the blade itself, and I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
if you can see that, but the blades are, the metal one is significantly thicker. Um,
Okay. So you might want to break out like the metal one or one that has that wider angle if you're working with very thin leather, maybe, just so you're not cutting as deep. Or
yeah,
would you recommend that? I don't know.
yeah, I probably would. So this is the 9 to 10 ounce
Mm.
leather here, and yeah, I would definitely say that's a good idea if you want to not cut right through your material. Um, Try using something that's probably not as sharp as the ceramic blade. Um, so casing leather. Um, Casing leather is one of the things that I think everybody just kind of has their own. There's the recommendation like this is probably where people mostly recommend. At this point, you start carving and tooling. For me personally, I like it a little bit wetter. Um, I'll generally, you know, wet the leather pretty significantly, and I won't let it get this dry whenever I start carving. Um, and that's just because of the way I prefer it. Um, I don't know if you all have any recommendations or preferences there, but uh, that's the way I do it anyway. So, and then as far as like holding the swivel knife, um, I'm one of the people that everything I hold in my hands, I just like have a tendency to like grip it as hard as I can. So, so I get pretty tired after a while. I don't know how to. I don't know how to change that about myself, but I've tried, uh, just relaxing a bit and focusing more on pushing down on the top rather than squeezing the crap out of the barrel, because it does tend to make your hands tired after a while. And I start to get, like, my fingers start to get numb after I've been doing this for a while. Um, Another thing is whenever I'm holding the blade, I'll put my ring finger down by the blade itself to help turn the blade whenever I need to make a turn. And sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't, depending on how tight of a turn you're trying to make. So we can go ahead and start carving, I guess. Do y'all have any questions about anything?
I don't. I don't see anybody typing in the chat yet.
All right.
I mean, like questions to
Sure.
respond. Oh wait, James is writing something. I don't know if you can see the chat easily, so.
No, I can't. But
Okay. So he said,
oh, let the blade do the.
yeah.
Yeah, I see that now.
Okay.
Let me see. Show chat. There we go. That's easy. Shrink down a bit. Okay. Let the blade do the work. You don't have to apply force, just like pressure. Yep. Yep. All true. And yet I still do it anyway. um, all right. So I'm going to start with the bottom portion here. And what I'm going to do, so as a word of, I guess, caution or something to just note, is that whenever I started carving stuff, I was like really concerned about trying to follow the lines that I had stenciled in as closely as possible. While that is an important part of this, uh, don't get too caught up on that. Focus on making, like, the best quality line that you can make, right? So if I'm going to follow these, I'm going to try to get down here. Let me put my. I got a stupid little uh, head camera that I wear, or not a head camera, but a head light that I wear to try to get a little bit better. There we go.
Heck yeah, headlamp.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a good idea.
So yeah, you can get this over at Home Depot for like $25, I think. So I'm gonna start here, and I'm just gonna pull like that, right? And I'm gonna try to keep it, um, as consistent as I can with the speed and the depth. So, and you can see that I'm getting right up next to the line here. But whenever I go to carve this line that crosses over, I'm going to move it up just a little bit because I don't want those lines to connect necessarily, right? So, uh,
So I'm just gonna let you know, I think the headlamp might be creating blowout on the video, just a heads up. Whenever you look away from the lines, we can see it clearly, but when you're looking directly at it, the light is quite intense, so it's blowing out the image.
okay.
Um, I don't know if it matters because we're still seeing the example after the fact, but just letting you know in case
Yeah.
it has like a lower setting or something.
Let's see. Is that better?
That currently is perfect, in my opinion, but
All
yeah,
right.
we can definitely see it now. Thank you so much.
Okay. So I'm going to start over here. All right. So you don't want to run the two lines together, right? The lines that you're carving, you don't want them to connect, um, and it's because of the way whenever you do the beveling that this is going to cross over that, right? And so it'll just look weird, um, but that's how I do it. You can do it however you want. I noticed that when uh, other people like Magnus or anybody else who's doing carving on YouTube demonstrates the way that they do it, they tend to uh, not care so much about the line as they do about. Um, I think I messed that up. It's all right. Um, as they do about being able to get things done the way that they want it done. Um, it's surprisingly challenging to try to talk and carve at the same time.
I was like so impressed too. I was like, wow, how is he doing this? Like I would not be able to do that. So I I don't know, you're doing a great job, but hey.
Thanks. Um, all right, uh, so this line right here, I don't know if you can see that line right there. This is one where we've got this ribbon that kind of goes underneath this little piece that I just carved. And then this is the outside edge right there of, um, this other stalk, right? So these two ribbons come together right here. And so this part, this edge of this ribbon is going to fade into this other one. And so the reason that's important, if you do any Western style carving, you'll find this happens a lot. But the reason that this is important is because the way that the way that you start and stop whenever you're coming against an intersection like this is going to be different from the way that you want to end this line, right? So
Oh yeah.
these lines have like a definite start and stop, and so you see whenever I spin the leather and I'm you know hitting the other edge of that, the other end of the line, I'm trying to make a squared off end, right? But
Mhm.
on this one, I would do this more of a Western style. So whenever I drag this down, I'm coming down and I'm just going to lightly come up, right? And you see the difference in the way the line ends here. So
Yeah.
it's just pulled out. Oh yeah, try and use your shoulder more. Yeah, that's good advice. Um, all right, so that's one of those things that you'll learn if you go to the Tandy workshops. I've done several of those.
I didn't know there was like a Western style. I'd never heard of it referred to that way, so that's really interesting. It's good to know.
Oh yeah, like if you do the look at the old like gun belts and stuff, all that's it's all like it's called Western floral carving, right? So it's a lot of flowers and like leaves and different kinds of acorns and nuts and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So these little buckles that he puts on here are always weird for me to carve. And I end up doing something different probably each time that I do these. And I just try to Just try to get them, as buckly as I can make them. Um, all right, so the blade is starting to drag a bit. So what I'm going to do is start stropping, and then I'm going to re-wet my leather.
So yeah, I'm chopping in a little late.
Oh,
Um, so what I do with the designs, I put some backing tape on the paper because I got upset with it getting soggy and the stylus punching through. And
Oh,
then
that's another way. Yeah.
for the longest time, I used one of these cheap styluses which came like with the beginner carving set. And but now I actually use a pen and draw my design again with the pen, so I can actually see where I actually drew already. And the tip of the pen is actually smaller than the stylus I have, so I get crispier lines as well.
nice.
That's cool.
That shows.
Yeah,
And from the
we were
plates,
talking about that earlier, actually. Trust with the.
yeah,
Sorry
I was
to cut
here,
you
but
off.
I
Oh,
wasn't
you were
I wasn't
okay.
set up.
Ah, gotcha.
Um, and from the plates, like this was the first plate I kind of used
Hmm.
because it also came like with a beginner set for the swivel knife. And it doesn't really cut very deep, so I got myself um, a filigree, an angled one,
Hmm.
if you can see that.
Yep.
And this is what I used for the last couple of years until recently I upgraded to ceramic knives. And that one is actually like I'm surprised of the difference in between the metal one and the ceramic one. Like the ease of cutting and the depth of cutting is like a whole new learning curve for me.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's what I do. I let you get on with it. That
That's perfect. I think I feel exactly the same way about the ceramic blade. It's like it does cut significantly deeper, and it is a challenge to ensure that you're not getting all the way through the leather, but just learning how to work with it. All right, let's see. Okay, so we're gonna go over the top of it. All right. So here I'm gonna start inside. And then we've got these two little lines here that need to come down. So when I run into an issue like this in the design, right? The way that the way the design is on the paper and the way that it transfers to the leather. See the I don't know if the stylus didn't make a very deep line here, but this is where the right here is where the transfer said to make that line. But you can see it kind of comes out of the corner after I've carved this, and it kind of comes out of the corner. So instead, I'll kind of shorten that up
they're not the boss of us,
That's
you
right.
know?
Do your own thing.
Yeah.
All right, and then I'm gonna come here.
Oh, Cosmic, if you are still listening, um, I also really like those metal paperweights, but they are a little too pricey for me. So what I did is I made some out of scrap pieces of leather. Like it looks
Oh,
alright on the top, but it had like deep cuts in the back.
yeah.
And some people use like ball bearings to fill them, but I didn't have ball bearings, so I just used sand.
What?
So I stuffed them tightly with sand. Actually,
Oh, I love
um,
that.
the the big one is I don't know if you do metric, but it's like 750 grams, so it's quite hefty. And the small ones are 500 grams, half a kilo, like about a pound.
That's
So
so cool.
they do
That's
it for
such a good
me.
idea. That is such a good idea. Like, I would love to have official, like, weighted weights, I guess. Weighted weights, wow. But I think the fact that you have something that's more personalized too, I really dig that. I love that you have your stamp on it too. That's great. That's really cool.
Yeah, I had to try
Also,
it
I
on
like
some
the idea of
things.
it not damaging the leather when it's sitting on it too, right? You're not likely to get impressions from that surface,
Yeah,
right?
I mean they are smooth. They are just untreated veg tan leather. Like they were a little bit oiled, but they actually, because I packed them with slightly wet sand, they are actually quite stiff.
That's a really good idea.
Excuse me, I gotta shut up the dogs for a sec.
Dad, you're just gliding through this like seamlessly. Look at this. It's like butter.
These whenever you whenever you strop the blade, even on these ceramic blades, it does have an effect. And I know that Magnus has talked about that quite a bit, where he's saying that people disagree that you don't need to strop a ceramic blade, but it does make a difference. Um, and as soon as I start feeling it kind of pulling, like it's starting to pull just a little bit right now, so I should probably just go ahead and strop it again. But um, I'm just going to press forward a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that too. I think I commented that not too long ago about stropping even a ceramic blade. And what I think might be happening is like, even at a microscopic level, there's like gumminess or something that's building up. It's either picking up residual waxes or fats or something that can cause it to have like a slight amount of resistance when gliding through the leather. And I wonder if it's just removing some of that residual gumminess or tackiness or something. It's not necessarily sharpening it, but it's polishing it, which I think Magnus has mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Big fan of stropping, even a ceramic blade. Nobody's going to tell me otherwise.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might even be the polishing compound itself because it's quite smooth, and it
Mm.
might fill like little cracks in the material with that polishing compound,
Oh
and maybe
yeah.
that gives it some lubrication kind of effect as well.
Yeah, or make it like hydrophobic or something so the water resistance is just gliding through it. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. I'm sorry. I'm like, yes, we have figured it out, everybody. Just decided that's it, but it just makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but Like I'm still consider myself as a beginner and as a learner. Like I basically learned it all from Magnus videos on YouTube, how to do it, and then got a little bit into my own style or got a little bit more filigree. Like I tried some quite small carvings, and it's really a pain in the ass. Like there's still quite some limitations of what I can do. But it's always nice to have like a little bit of a community to share like experiences or tips and tricks because there's like a lot to learn still for everybody, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just started doing this stuff a year ago, and
Oh wow.
before that, uh, I spent like 30 years doing woodworking as a hobby, and a lot of the skill sets transferred over. It just um, it just felt whenever I started doing this for the first time, it just kind of felt like, oh yeah, I know how to do this exactly. um, Obviously, not the greatest ever, but uh, still, it didn't feel like a totally foreign kind of a concept to me. So if you've got other skill sets that are kind of creative, you're probably going to enjoy doing leatherwork and find success with it.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. Like coming from illustration and fine art like background and then doing sculpture, it felt like some of that had prepared me for like hand-eye coordination, working with my hands, following, the lines and stuff. But also construction in general is something that I really enjoy, putting things together with like materials.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I can imagine from woodworking, it makes a lot of sense, a lot of transferable skills there, at least for like the fine detail and carving and stuff like that.
Yeah, just like learning how to work with a hand tool, you know,
Mm.
like people get impatient, and it can be very frustrating whenever you're trying to do something and you're like, why is this stupid blade won't work right? And it's just because you're impatient. Everybody gets that way about something. Let's see. I only got like a couple more little lines here. I'm gonna go ahead and stop anyway. 'Cause these are the
See,
tight ones.
I would have been at that like just so focused and I probably would have lost 3 hours to get where you are right now and you've done it. Like I think that's I don't know. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your skirt or whatever people say. But it's just yeah, you're clearly getting stuff done. I need to be more like that, like actually just move on stuff, make things happen, actually make the actions instead of frustrating myself over all the fine details as though every line. I think you said that before is like they just focus on getting it done or like
Yep.
yeah, making progress as opposed to like I don't know, fussing over being exact in each instance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just waffling now.
No, that's actually a really important point because it's not it's similar to the concept of analysis paralysis, right? Like you get so focused on trying to do it right that you let it stop you from just doing it. And like one of the so I was at a Tandy store one time after I'd made something, and I was like starting to point out all the different little errors that I'd made whenever I created it. And this lady was standing, kind of off, not part of the conversation, but listening. And I was like, I screwed this up and I messed that up. And she came walking up and she said, you know what? No one can tell except you. So shut up about it. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think of that, but that's true. Like, nobody knows that you screwed it up except you, arguably the most important person. But all you have to do is just uh, try to figure out how to do it better next time. And leather is one of those things that, unlike wood, leather is like super forgiving and really easy to kind of fix, right? So you see, these two points are different, right? The bulb on this side is bigger than the one on this side, and I'm sure that's not how it's supposed to be, right? According to the pattern, they're both supposed to be small like that. I don't care. Um,
What are they gonna do about it?
that's right. Uh, let's see. I didn't even finish this one here.
Also, the way that you, I guess, bevel it could make a big difference as to whether or not that's super noticeable or not, too, right?
Exactly. Yep. The beveling is one of those things where it's like you can hide a lot of mistakes with a beveling tool, um, and just make things look like, oh, that's not a mistake. I intended it to be that way. Um, in fact, I didn't expect the carving to go this quickly. But if y'all want to go into beveling, we can do that too. Um, because the leather is like right at the perfect wetness to start beveling. Let me just grab a tool real quick.
So, what is actually the part you hate the most on tooling? Because for me, it's always the transfer. There's always some second where the paper seems to slide a little bit, or the lines
Oh,
cross over where they shouldn't.
oh man, yeah. Yeah, if it's like super detailed and the lines are very close together and then suddenly there's like a convergence of lines that were never supposed to meet, I'm like, no! How dare you? But I think probably the worst part for me is the beveling because I don't like the sound. I'm pretty sensitive to loud sounds. So I don't know. I don't know. It's just a meh, right? Like get over it, but it's pretty noisy and we have neighbors and stuff, so I try to keep it down. That's the part that concerns me the most or is the most stressful. It's
So
like hammering.
yeah. So
Have you ever tried these kind of tools instead? Like leave
Oh,
the leather a
yeah.
little bit more wet and
Mhm.
just kind of squeeze it in.
Yeah. Yeah, so like pressure or sculpting the leather
Yeah,
for
kind
sure.
of.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
good call out.
Now they don't leave as deep as an of an impression in the leather, I have to say. But like on some corners where I can't really seem to get the tool in, like just the pointy bit, it seems to work quite well.
so uh, I've got several different beveling tools here, and well, a couple of background stamps and a couple of beveling tools. So these backgrounders are similar to the ones that Magnus has used, and then I think this is actually the one that he uses in most of his videos. I think that's the beveler. I used this one for a long time, but I've kind of started liking this one a little bit more. And then I have a larger one as well. So for these, um, this smaller one seems to have a bit of a steeper angle. I don't know if that's true or if it just feels that way. uh, but it definitely seems to make a bit of a deeper impression. Um, and so when I'm doing the beveling, what I'll typically do is, let me see if I can adjust the camera here so you can see my craziness. So,
Sorry, I can't see it that well on the phone, but is that like a textured bevel you're using, or is it like smooth?
a what?
Is the bevel of text, does it has a texture on it,
Oh no,
like a little crisscross or something?
no. This one is it's just a smooth beveler.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no pattern on this. But what I'll do, let me pull this back here. So I will rest my elbow on the table, and I don't I don't do this right. The,
Sorry for derailing us there. Just had that question there.
no, that's fine. Uh, that's kind of the whole point of doing this way, is so that we we can have a conversation and not just everybody.
No talking, only learning.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just treating it kind of like an open chat. I mean, you're actually teaching a lesson. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No, no, no. That's
yeah,
exactly.
I kind of see that the chat. We are not too many people in here, so it's kind of you can keep the overview of it. If you don't want us to talk, just say shut up. I understand.
No, no. That's exactly why I did it this way. Because if I was gonna make it so that nobody could talk, then I would just do a stream on YouTube or something. But um, this is the way that I like to do things. I like to have conversations going on because I don't always have something smart to say. Most of the time, it's just foolishness that comes out of my mouth. So,
I want to disagree so bad, but I don't want to be disrespectful. Like, by disagreeing. I will say that's contrary to my experience of listening to you talk. That's all I gotta say.
well, I appreciate that.
So, Dad, are you gonna make more of these little lessons in the future, or is that like a one-time thing now?
No, I'm happy to do as many sessions as people want. We can talk about anything that's in my skill set, or you all can uh, host them too, and I'd be happy to sit in and listen on those. I mean, you know, however you all want to do this, and I am recording this, so I'll probably just throw this up on YouTube once I'm done. But um, and y'all can go back and watch it if you want or whatever. Ignore the channel.
Oh, that's
So,
really
are you
cool.
doing like airbrushing with dice or stuff like this as well? Because that's kind of a thing I'm now interested in to up my game a little bit, like with actually airbrushing pieces, getting a little bit more out of the tooling.
Airbrushing.
Yeah.
So yesterday, I was using my airbrush, and I was applying finish to my. Um, Here, let me get my. So I'm working on the queer ass, right? And this is this is what I got done yesterday. So I did the dry brushing, and then I did the painting and I did the dry brushing, and then used the airbrush to apply the finish, right, the matte finish over the whole thing. And then I went and got something to eat, and my airbrush doesn't work anymore.
Oh no.
Oh shit.
So I don't know
Oh.
if I have you know acrylic buildup inside it somewhere um, that I can't get to. That's my assumption is that there's some something stuck in there because I keep getting bubbles in my cup, and I've watched several videos about how to fix that, and there just doesn't seem to be any way. Like everything that I've tried, you know, even like taking the needle out and trying to, see if I could dig out anything. I mean, I've rammed a brush down through there. It seems like everything should work fine, but I don't know. I don't know what the issue is. So I may just have to buy a new airbrush. But I would like to get better at airbrushing as well. So if you have any tips about how to do that, um, and now I know not to ruin it. uh,
It's looking great so far, though.
Thank you.
That's
I've
Yeah,
amazing.
unfortunately, I'm an absolute noob in airbrushing, and I also thought like I'm gonna use it for the finish, but the finish is just gonna gunk up the airbrush. That's just gonna happen.
yeah.
But I thought maybe like alcohol-based dyes or water-based dyes um, to do like the background in the leather or stuff like this might be a viable option with the airbrush.
So I have used the dye, the Feedings. Let's see. I've used Feedings Pro Blue dye, and I'll show you what that looks
Ooh.
like.
Oh, that must be so nice for the pro because like you'll get that even coverage hopefully. I feel like pro is kind of tricky, at least on the projects that I've worked with,
Well, so
for like patchiness, you know? Maybe I'm just not using it properly or I'm not prepping it correctly. I don't know.
this is the airbrush that I'm using, and I got
Nice.
some water sitting in there, but it's basically a paperweight now, I guess.
No.
Uh,
God.
it's pretty terrible, but it's a
But
nice
for
little
$10 you get a new gun on top of it, so that's all right.
one of these.
Yeah,
Yeah, and if you disassemble it and then let all the pieces individually soak in a solution that'll help break down the acrylic or whatever it is that whatever the base is, um, then you can just reassemble it later and hopefully it'll work. But like sometimes it just needs to sit and soak and get all those little compartments filled with
yeah. Have you
fluid.
tried running acetone through it?
Mm.
Not acetone, but I got some of that airbrush cleaner from Tandy. I'm not sure what's in it,
Okay.
and I ran that through it. I don't know. Maybe it'll just miraculously start working after a while. I think this is a mixture of water and some of that airbrush cleaner. So I'm just kind of letting that sit and hopefully soak through.
What kind of finish did you use?
What's that?
What kind of finish did you use? Like Vaseline or
It's the. Let's see. It's that stuff.
so it's an acrylic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the same issue with Vaseline. I tried it once with Vaseline and it got totally gunked up. And I tried it with putting through cleaning alcohol first,
Yeah.
and it kind of worked, but acetone actually worked way better. I put it through, let it sit in there, let it soak a bit, gave it a couple of sprays again, and I repeated that a couple of times, and it got cleaner over time.
Yeah. This is uh, this is
So
when
the mask was in the house.
I so when I did the blue with the airbrush, this is how it came out. Right. Um, kind of looks streaky there, but it's not where the airbrush did. It's the leather itself is just kind of lumpy.
Oh no.
But
But
yeah,
it doesn't look too bad though. It
yeah.
almost looks. Did it pull?
Do
I can't tell.
yeah, a little bit. I think it probably did in some spots, like maybe down here at the bottom. And then when I put the finish on there, the finish was just, uh, I was a little heavy-handed on some areas of the finish, so it was like starting to pool up over here, and then I would just use the air only to kind of try to spray it across, and then you get these little, snail marks all over. But
Oh, too
yeah,
real.
so that's what the craft tool all-in-one airbrush does whenever you try to spray leather dye.
I have like one last question about that though.
Yeah.
Is the needle actually moving? Like, can you see when you pull back the needle,
Hmm.
is it actually retracting at all?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It is? Oh, okay. All right. I thought maybe it was like stuck from acrylic.
Nope.
Ah, well,
It just doesn't work anymore.
lame.
Everything
No.
shoots out through the cup instead of. And I don't know. I don't know. I've disassembled the whole thing and run brushes through there and run all kinds of cleaners through there, and it just doesn't want to play nice.
Ah, bizarre.
But it was fantastic the whole time I was using it, and I finished spraying all the pieces for the cuirass. Um, luckily, before before it quit working, so all I have to do now is just peen 1,000 rivets. Thanks, Magnus.
Oops. Sorry about that.
Uh,
I'm not sure why. James said his mic's muted. He's not sure why. I said unmute it, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, I think I think the permissions that you had set for the server for this particular channel.
Oh, there you go, James. James got it now. I saw his mic pop
I'm
on. I
just
can't hear
checking
you.
if it's the
Oh,
if
there
it's
you go.
still push to talk.
Nice. Can we switch?
Huzzah.
Let me see if I can switch from push to talk.
Yeah, it's just push to talk now. At least I can talk. Yay!
Yay.
No.
That should be a setting that you change.
The push to talk.
No,
Yeah.
there's a channel setting you can set so you
Oh.
have to use push to talk, and that's what I have now because when I try to change it, it just
I
says
guess
that I have to enable it.
I'm just the ruler of all because I can do whatever. Let's see here. I'll try and figure it out.
Got too much power.
much.
Unlimited power.
Unlimited, indeed. Let's see here. I'll fuck around.
I sent that to a friend of mine. I made a logo for his Instagram channel
Mhm.
and put it on his leather apron that he uses. And then I sent him Emperor Palpatine saying, "You want this, don't you?" Oh, there we go. That's that's the other method that I use right there. I was like, what is that other method that I used to? Oh yeah, just like that, holding the mallet head kind of like that. So if when I get tired of doing this and my thumb is all worn out, then I'll kind of work up and grab that.
Oh yeah, you just had to like let yourself get in the zone and muscle memory took over. Nice.
I couldn't think of it. Couldn't think of it.
So where I see maybe another option for the machine would be like freehand writing without any carving.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
Also, like on a high voltage, it actually leaves quite a deep impression.
Wow.
But that's also fairly thick leather. So on thinner leather, it doesn't really do that.
That looks really smooth.
Nice.
Do you feel like, Trust, do you think you could get a taper on that or like a pressure gradient at the end of the S, for example? Do you feel like that is something that would be achievable over time as you get more familiar with doing that? Or
Yeah,
does
I
it feel
think
like it's fairly
it's a
restricted?
matter of practice. I think
Mm.
somebody who already does tattoos would do fairly well with the machine because they're already used to putting like shading in and stuff like this. So you can get like a gradient effect. Let me turn off the mic for a second because that thing is super loud. I give it a little try.
Push
Yeah,
to
save our
talk should
ears.
be fixed.
Sweet.
Might have to exit and re-enter the channel. I'm not 100% sure, but it should be fixed.
Okay. Yes, I think. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yay.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Hello.
Yeah, I
Hello.
don't know how good you can see that, but you can actually go from deep to almost not noticeable at the end quite easily.
Oh, wow.
Very nice.
That's really good. That's going to be so powerful over time as you get more and more familiar with using it.
Yeah, like I say, I'm not really sold on it, and I really hate that sound. I mean, I got tattoos all over my body, and the sound was always the thing that bothered me the most.
So I have a large tattoo on my back
Ah,
that I got when I was in Italy, and it took 8 hours to get the whole thing done. And halfway through, I just couldn't take anymore. I was like, nope, I have to go back to the hotel. And I took a nap for like 2 hours, and then I went back and finished. I was just completely out of uh, energy, I guess. I don't know.
Oh,
Adrenaline? I
wow.
don't know.
Dang.
well,
Eight
push to
hours of
talk is
tattooing.
disabled now, so that's good.
Yeah. So,
Thank you for fixing it, Magnus.
yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you.
So
We can be the social.
I had no problem.
let me close this in. And then I'll show you something that you all may already know this, but one of the one of the things that I learned about um, how to make tooled things look just a little bit better was from a figure carving class that I took, where you go to Tandy and you carve a horse face. I've done that like 2 or 3 times. I've got horse heads all over. But what?
I just finished one myself.
Nice. Uh, but one of the things that they did was they said use the modeling spoon. Right. So if you notice on the beveled edges, right, if you feel it, it's a very distinct, sharp edge. Um, you know.
Oh, yeah, that technique. I would recommend using a ball stylus because in case your hand slips, you don't cut the leather,
Yeah. Yeah. You could do
like make a
that way
big
too.
gouge.
Um, like uh, like that. Right.
Yep.
You could use
Then
that.
use the fig end.
And
That way it just glides along.
yeah, you can go around. What you're trying to do, whether no matter which one you're using, is you're just trying to round over that edge, right? So you can hook the stylus in there and just do like that, and it's pretty incredible whenever you compare before and it's hard to tell, whenever you as you're doing it, but whenever you compare the before and after, I like using the modeling spoon.
I literally just started doing this recently.
Yeah.
I used this one and then I used the big end.
Yeah.
Really great.
One of the
Makes
things
it nice and pretty.
one of the things that I've noticed is that whenever you do this, though, you'll tend to get like a little ridge up on the top here as you drag the modeling spoon. If you're using a modeling spoon, you get like
Yep.
this little ridge. So you can. That's easy to you just take the modeling spoon, and just kind of smooth that out, and then it doesn't take much, and it does just dramatically improve the look of the stuff whenever you're done with it.
Yep.
Oh wow, that's actually pretty cool.
Yep. Makes it so much more pretty. I use it on all my carvings. Like if we can see that somehow.
Oh yeah.
We can't see that.
A little too close.
Yeah. Also, this camera is terrible. Should be able to maybe OBS. Capture device. Yes. Settings. Video. Nope. Not allowed. Me.
I love that wallet trust. Or
Oh,
whatever
thank
it
you.
is. Looks like
This
it
was
must be a wallet.
actually after watching one of your videos, this was the first thing I ever made.
Oh, nice.
A little knife piece with actually a little bit of water forming to it.
Cool.
And I use it like since, I don't know, 4 years or so, every day at work, and it's still in one piece, so I'm quite proud of that. And this was the first wallet I made.
Looks great.
Obviously Magnus inspired, as you can tell on the serpent. But yeah, I'm really proud my stitching got way better over time because this is just horrible. But it's time for a new one, so I
Yeah, I
might
should make
make
a
a
new
new
one here
one.
soon.
That is a big boy wallet too. that's, that's made for man pockets. That's cool.
I have still use my tiny little just cards wallet with some emergency cash in it.
Yeah, I only do cash, so my wallets need to hold.
Yeah, I'm the opposite.
My wallets need to hold cash, so I don't care about cards really.
What?
I wish I didn't care about cards. I probably would be financially more stable.
Yeah, I can never spend more than I actually have in my wallet, so that's actually good.
Oh, you're inspiring me to go back to cash at this point. It might be the
Yes,
smarter
people,
move.
go back to cash. Plastic money is fake.
But I have more of it.
I could just keep on spending.
Yeah, but then you end up in debt, don't you?
Yes. Yes, you do.
Yeah, I don't like that.
You can just ignore that, though. You don't.
Yeah, I did for quite a while. I can't ignore it any longer.
Logitech should be banned from existing.
I think I've run out of toys to buy for the most part, though.
Okay, there we go. They really need to update the interface because it's terrible. Let's see if this works slightly better. Yeah, you can kind of see the beveling.
Yeah, a little bit. It just doesn't focus very well at that closeness.
Eh.
There you go. That's about a sweet spot back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Little-
James is not
I like
real.
the
He's using a
design.
green
It
screen.
also might be trying to focus on your face too. Yeah, look, that's probably a good spot.
But yeah, you can like see how soft it is on the bevel.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's because I used the ball stylus. Like it gives a really nice edge, and you don't have to go over it multiple times.
Hmm.
Where if you use a spoon, first off your hand slips and like you cut into the leather, and like it becomes like more sheer. Like it's too flat of a surface.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure. If you hit a spot where there's like a scar in the leather, or there's some weird grain texture there, the modeling spoon can jump over the lip, and then you get this wavy line, or just a nice big arc right through the middle of whatever you're trying to
Yup.
protect.
And that's why I fully recommend getting a big ball stylus. Like the small one is great for tracing. These big ones are really good for everything else,
Nice.
especially cleaning up.
Let's see. So I use. I'll do a little bit of the backgrounding here, and then I'll shut up. Um, but the way that I've started using the backgrounder, this is just a regular backgrounder stamp.
That is the
I can't read the numbers on here. I don't know why they would stamp numbers.
you can take a Sharpie with the preferred color you like and just go over it and then use some alcohol to wipe it off the glossy surface.
Oh,
That
that's
should
cool.
make it easier to read. I learned that from a car show.
uh, I can
Uh,
I can find it on the Tandy website, but it's just the one that's called the backgrounder, right? And the smallest one that they have.
Let's see, I have two of those. I have one with a bubbly texture, and I have one with like a diamond. Impossible to see.
Yeah. I think this looks like a diamond. Yeah, it's not the. There's one that has a less pronounced. Anyway, you'll see the impression that it makes whenever I start here. But the way that I do this is I generally try to outline whatever it is that I'm going to bevel or background. So I'll work around the edges here, and I try. What I've noticed is that because there's a rounded end and a pointed end on the backgrounding tool, um, if you try to keep it straight up and down, right, perpendicular to the leather, um, that works the best, obviously. But if you angle it just a little bit towards the rounded end, you can kind of get almost like a nice flow going. You got to be careful, because what you could end up with are some, um, impressions from the round side, and you don't really want that. Um,
Yep.
and then the
Ah,
the technique. Oh, there you go. Yeah,
it's a diamond and a bubbly one.
yeah. So I'm using the diamond one. But the technique
Well,
is.
there's a big diamond and a small diamond.
Hmm.
And the small diamond is A114, and the big diamond is A118.
It's that third one over from the right. I guess the smallest diamond one there.
Here is the different effects, if we can see that somehow.
Not that one. Trust. Go. This right next to that. Go. Keep going to the. Oh, is your video flipped? Maybe I'm. No.
No,
Go the other way. That, yeah, right there. What is that one? The small one.
A114,
Nope. Nope. The one right next to that. The small one.
the 888.
Yeah, I think that's this one right here. The 888. Yep. Yep, that's it.
Or maybe you can read it.
I don't know if you can see the. See if I can hold it still enough.
Found it.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So
It doesn't like it. All right. So anyway, what I'll do here,
yeah.
the technique that you're supposed to use, um, is like the sewing machine technique, right? You let this ride above the surface of the leather, like just a little bit, and then as you hammer it, it presses down into the leather like that, right? I'm exaggerating it on purpose, but that's what it's supposed to do, right? You smash it down into the leather. I don't do it like that. I do it like a toddler, and just go around and smush it straight down into the leather, and just give it a good whack. And I will follow the.
There we go. That's the different effects you get from the bubble and the diamond one.
Yeah.
I prefer the bubble.
I think my wife is calling me. 1 second.
It's not.
What?
It's not mom. It's Mila.
What? What's up?
Hey, I'm getting to collect what they want now. Do you want anything or
Okay. Yeah.
do you want the regular sandwich?
Jeez.
That's fine. I'm still streaming on here, so. All
I know. Okay.
right.
Yeah, I also like these ones, the kind of hidden seed.
Oh yeah. So
These
that's the that's how I start my impressions in it. I don't know. I have Pirates of the Caribbean running through my head whenever I do this because that's what I was watching whenever I was doing this on the queer ass pieces. Um, and then I'll just go about like trying to keep something of a bit of a consistent direction on how these how the stamps are going to flow, right? So that it doesn't look all swirled. You see that?
Oh, so you follow a pattern, like a grid kind of thing.
Yeah, and I try not to. What you don't want to do, no matter how you do this, there are two things to avoid, right? One is called hamburger. So if you go over the same spot different ways multiple times, you end up with just something that looks like ground beef, right? The other thing is having obvious impressions from the tool itself, right? So the way that this is done, uh, I try to hit with the same consistent amount of power each time, and that way I don't have anything where you can see the obvious outline from the tool itself. It all just looks like the tines, the teeth of the tool there, right? It's never going to be perfect. So Cosmic, you you're never going to make it exactly
What do
right.
you mean? What do you mean?
But
Very well. I guess I'll just actually move forward instead of freaking out.
I I don't know why I like this little one better than the bigger one. Um, but I just feel like this one has more. I have more control with this one than with
Yeah.
this one. I don't know.
You definitely do. The bigger ones are way harder to control and get anything pretty.
Yeah.
But they're great for like big areas. Like for the majority of this, especially near everything, I use the small one. And for the huge areas that don't need any form of shadow or focus on it, like here,
Hmm.
I use the big this one.
Yeah, like the chaos tool. I forget what
Yeah.
they call that. That's somebody called it the
But
chaos tool one time, and that's what I call it now.
if we look at like the effect of it, this is way lighter, which forces the motif to be more in focus.
Nice.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. All right, so that was a lot more, um, a lot bigger scope today than I had really planned on doing, but hopefully that was helpful, or something of value came out of there for people on here. If you got any questions or you just want to hang out, that's fine too. We can chat for a bit because I'm probably going to finish this and then avoid working on the cuirass for as long as possible.
A good class is when
Yeah.
you ping pong off the teacher, and even the teacher learns something.
Yep.
And I feel like that's what we've been doing here.
Yeah.
And informative and fun.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So what I did with my